Jai, Hare Krishna, and we are reading the last portion of the wonderful book, The Matchless Gift, by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. So page 92 of chapter 9, The Matchless Gift, Liberation in Krishna Consciousness. As long as we are not making puffed up, ego-centered claims, we are already liberated. There is no need to actually seek liberation. But as long as one thinks I am this body, he is not liberated. Liberation means knowing perfectly well that one's self is separate from the body. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami said, Prayashchitam Vimarshanam. Develop your knowledge, that will give you relief. Our knowledge is perfect when we come to know that we are very small particles of spiritual sparks, and that God, the Supreme, the greatest spiritual entity, supplies all our necessities. Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. By knowing ourselves as minute particles, part and parcel of God, we can understand that our duty is to serve God. God is the center of all creation, of the whole universal body. He is the enjoyer, and we are His servitors. As this conception becomes clear, we become liberated. Liberation entails freedom from all false conceptions. It is not that upon liberation one acquires 10 hands. In Srimad Bhagavatam, liberation is defined as muktir hitvanyatha rupam. Mukti means to give up, and anyatha rupam denotes a false conception of life. This is to say that when one is situated in his original constitutional position, having given up all false notions, he is liberated. It is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam that by the acquisition of knowledge, one becomes liberated immediately. That knowledge can be very easily acquired, for it is simple. God is great, and we are very small. He is the supreme proprietor supplying all necessities, and we are His servants. Who can challenge this? It is a fact. We are simply under the false impression that we are this or that. And this leads us to the ultimate false impression that we are God. Yet, we do not consider what manner of God we are. A small bodily disorder will send us to the physician. One who claims to be the Supreme, therefore, should be understood to have fallen to the last snare of Maya. One who is thus fallen cannot ever be liberated, for he is bound by false impressions. Only when one has attained proper knowledge can he actually be liberated. The stage of liberation is also called the Brahma-Bhuta stage. One who has attained this stage is characterized by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita in this way. Brahma-Bhuta prasannatmana shochatina kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity, and in that state he achieves pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad-Gita 18.54. The joy which follows realization arises from understanding. I was illusioned by false notions for so long. What a fool I was. I was thinking that I was God, but now I can understand that I am God's eternal servant. Upon gaining such realization, one attains liberation and becomes prasannatma, or jolly, for this is the constitutional position of the living entity. There is no lamentation when one is in pure consciousness, for he knows that he is a small part, a spiritual spark, protected by the Supreme Lord. Where then is the scope for lamentation. A small child feels free as long as he knows that his father is there. He thinks, "My father is standing by me, so I'm free. No one can harm me." Similarly, when one surrenders to Krishna, he has complete faith that he is not in danger because Krishna is protecting him. One who is thus surrendered to Krishna is not subject to lamentation or desire, whereas one who is not God conscious simply hankers and laments. He hankers for that which he does not possess, and he laments for that which he did possess but lost. A God-conscious person is not subject to such misery. If something is lost, he knows that it is God's wish, and he thinks, "God desired this, so it is all right." He does not desire anything, for he knows that all his necessities are being provided by Krishna, the Supreme Father. As soon as one understands his relationship to God, he realizes universal brotherhood, for he understands that all men and animals, indeed all life itself, are all parts of the Supreme Whole, and are therefore all equal. Seeing this, one does not envy, exploit, or trouble another living entity. Jai, isn't that beautiful? One does not envy, does not exploit, and doesn't trouble another living entity. I guess we so need this right now in the world. Thus, one who is a devotee of Krishna automatically develops all good qualities, for he is in the proper consciousness. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna maho manorat tena sati dhavato bahi. One who has developed Krishna consciousness will manifest all the good qualities of the demigods. Indeed, it is stated, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha. A Vaishnava, or devotee of Krishna, is an ocean of mercy to others. He gives the greatest gift to society, for society is in dire need of God consciousness. A Vaishnava bestows the priceless gift of the Maha mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this mantra, one can remain in a liberated state. One should not think, however, that this state is simply a state of trance, whereby one remains seated in lotus position in a corner for days on end. No, liberation means serving. One cannot simply say, "Now I have dedicated my life to Krishna. Let me remain seated in samadhi." The standard of surrender must be maintained by nishevaya, serving. As one serves the Supreme Lord, the Lord reveals himself within the heart. The program of devotional service to the Lord is executed from morning to night. Indeed, Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that one must engage in devotional service to him 24 hours a day. It is not that we should meditate for 15 minutes and then engage in all kinds of nonsense. The more we serve, the more dedicated to Krishna we become. Therefore, a person should utilize whatever talents he has for Krishna. There are 9 processes of devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping the deity in the temple, praying, carrying out orders, serving the Lord as friend, and sacrificing everything for him. And one should always keep engaged in at least one of these 9 processes. One who is always engaged in Krishna's service never becomes disgusted. Bhajatam priti purvakam. Service must be rendered with love. But in the beginning, this may be difficult, and so one may become disgusted. As one makes progress in Krishna's service, however, he will find it pleasing. This is indicated by Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita. Yattadagre visham iva pariname mritopanam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Bhagavad-Gita 18.37. Once one has attained the spiritual platform, it is material service that automatically becomes disgusting. For example, if one chants Hare Krishna throughout his life, he will not grow tired of the names. But if one chants a material name over and over, he will soon become disgusted. The more one chants the names of Krishna, the more he becomes attached. Thus, service by Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting about Krishna, is the beginning. The next process is Smaranam, always remembering Krishna. When one is perfect in chanting and hearing, he will always remember Krishna. In this third stage, he becomes the greatest yogi. Nor is the process in Krishna consciousness ever lost. In the material world, if one begins to construct a factory but does not complete it, the factory is useless for all intents and purposes. If the construction is stopped and the building half finished, whatever money is invested in is lost. This is not the case with Krishna consciousness. For even if one does not come to the perfectional point, whatever work he does is his permanent asset, and he can begin from that point in his next life. Krishna also confirms in Bhagavad-Gita that one who begins Krishna consciousness cannot lose anything. Nihabhikramanaşosti pratyavayo navidyate svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Bhagavad-Gita 2.40. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, when Arjuna asks about the fate of the unsuccessful yogi, Shri Krishna replies, Parthana vehanamutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gachati. Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Bhagavad-Gita 6.40. The Lord then indicates that the unsuccessful yogi takes up his practice of Krishna consciousness in the next life, beginning from the point where he left off. In other words, if one has finished 50% of the process in one life, in the next life he begins at 51%. Whatever material assets we communicate in our life, however, are all annihilated at death, for we cannot take material opulence with us. However, one should not think that he will do well to wait for the next life to attain Krishna consciousness. We should try to fulfill the mission of Krishna consciousness in this life. Krishna promises us that one who becomes his devotee will come to him without fail. Manmanabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam eva shasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. The result is that you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad-Gita 18.65. When we think of coming to Krishna, we should not think that we will be standing before a void or an impersonal bright light. Krishna, God, is a person, just as we are persons. Materially, we can understand that our Father is a person, and that His Father is also a person, and that His Father's Father is a person, and so on, back to the Supreme Father, who must also be a person. This is not very difficult to understand, and it is noteworthy that God is called the Supreme Father, not only in the Vedas, but in the Bible, Quran, and other scriptures. The Vedanta Sutra also confirms that the Absolute Truth is the original Father, from whom everything has taken birth or emanated. This is also confirmed in the Vedas. Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunamyo Vidadhati Kaman. The Lord is the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternals, and the Supreme Living Entity amongst all living entities. He is maintaining all others. The desires and life symptoms displayed by all living entities are simply reflections of the desires and life symptoms of the Supreme Father. In other words, our desires are born because He has desires. Because we are part and parcel of God, we have all the instincts of God in minute quality. The sex play and sex life which we see in the material world is but the perverted reflection of the love that is found in the spiritual world. This world is material because God is forgotten here. But once He is remembered, the world immediately becomes spiritual. In other words, the spiritual world is that place where Krishna is not forgotten. Oh, so beautiful. Spiritual world is that place where Krishna is not forgotten. That is also the definition of the spiritual world given by the Vedic scriptures. We must therefore plan our lives in such a way that it will not be possible for us to forget Krishna for a moment. In this way, by engaging in the service of Krishna, we will therefore always live in Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, the abode of Krishna. At present, due to our polluted consciousness, we are turning the world into a materialistic and hellish place, that's for sure, isn't it? I mean, we're in 2020 here, so it's a materialistic and hellish place. And because we are ignorant of our constitutional position, we have created innumerable problems, just as in dreams we create so many problems. But in actuality, there are no problems. I may dream that I am in a great storm, or that I'm being pursued, or that someone is taking my money, or that I'm being devoured by a tiger, but actually, these are all creations of my mind. Asango hya yam purusha iti shrute. The Vedas say that the Purusha, the Atma, or the soul, has no connection with all its dreamlike material activities. Therefore, we must engage in this Krishna consciousness process to awaken from this dreaming condition. Above all the fruitive laborers, speculators, and mystic yogis are the bhaktas, or devotees of Krishna. A bhakta can be perfectly peaceful, whereas the others cannot, because everyone but the bhakta, one who has pure love, has desire. A Shuddha Bhakta is desireless because he is simply happy serving Krishna. He does not know or even care whether God is Krishna or not. He just wants to love Krishna. Nor is he concerned with the fact that Krishna is omnipotent or that he is all-pervasive. In Vrindavan, the cowherd boys and the gopis did not know whether Krishna was God or not, but they simply loved him. Although they were not Vedantists, yogis, or karmis, they were happy because they were simple village girls and boys who wanted to see Krishna. This is a very highly elevated position called Sarvapadhi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam, or the stage of purity in which one is liberated from all material designations. Although the yogis and jnanis are trying to understand God, they are not aware of their illusory condition. Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvahato Vimudhan. They are fools because they are working hard for illusory happiness. There is no question of peace for them. The jnanis or speculators wanting to get relief from the hard work of this material world reject this material world. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Their position is a little higher than that of the karmis because the karmis have taken this material world as everything. They say, here we shall be happy. And their dharma or religion consists of trying to make a peaceful atmosphere within this material world. The fools do not know that this has been tried for millions of years, but has never happened and will never happen. How can peace in the material world be possible when Krishna, the Creator himself, says that this place is meant for trouble and miseries? Abrahama bhuvanam lokah punaravartinorjuna mamopetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. Bhagavad-Gita 18.16. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Not only is this world full of suffering, but it is also temporary. One cannot simply agree to go ahead suffering the threefold miseries and stay here. Even that will not be allowed. In this world, he will not only be punished while staying here, but he will also be kicked out at the end. One may accumulate a large bank balance or an expensive home, a wife, children, and so many amenities. And he may think, I am living very peacefully. But at any day he may be told, please get out. Why, he will ask. It is my house, it is paid for. I have money and a job and responsibilities. Why should I get out? Just get out, don't talk, get out. On that day, a man sees God. Oh, I did not believe in God, he may think. But now here is God finishing off everything. Thus it is said that the demoniac recognizes Krishna as death, for it is at that time that he takes everything away from him. Why do we want to see God as death? When the demon Hiranyakashipu saw Krishna, he saw him as death, personified. But the devotee Prahlad saw him in his personal form as his beloved Lord. Those who challenge God will see him in his ghastly aspect. But those who are devoted to him will see him in his personal form. In any case, everyone will ultimately see God. A person who is honest can always see Krishna everywhere. Krishna says, try to understand me, try to see me everywhere. By way of facilitating this method, the Lord says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, I am the taste of water. When we are thirsty and in need of a glass of water, we can drink it and feel happy, understanding that the power of water to quench our thirst is Krishna. Similarly, as soon as there is sunrise or moonshine, we can see Krishna. For he says, Prabhasmi Shashri Suryayoh, I am the sun and moon. At a further stage, we can see Krishna as the life force within everything, as he indicates in Bhagavad-Gita. Punyo gandhah prithivyam cha tejas chashmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the light and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Bhagavad-Gita 7.9. Once we understand that all things are dependent upon Krishna for their existence, there is no possibility of his ever becoming lost to us. In Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord indicates that all things abide in him in both their beginning and in the end, and also in the interim state. Etadyoni bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagatah prabhavah pralayastata matah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam pratam sutre maniganaiva. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both its origin and dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls on a thread. Bhagavad-Gita 7.69? 6,7. Krishna is easily visible, but he is only visible to those who are devoted to him. For those who are envious, foolish, or unintelligent, he obscures himself with his veil of Maya. Naham prakashak sarvasya yoga maya samavritah mudhoyam nabhijanati lokomama jamavyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal, creative potency, Maya. Thus the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. Bhagavad-Gita 7.25. This eternal creative potency, or Yoga Maya, which obscures Krishna to the unintelligent, is dissolved by love. The eternal creative potency Yoga Maya, which obscures Krishna to the unintelligent, is dissolved by love. This is the verdict of Brahma Samhita. Premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. One who has developed love for Krishna can see him within his heart 24 hours a day. Those who thus see Krishna are not anxious. Those who thus, I'm sorry, I'm just Hare Krishna. This is actually the last paragraph. Focus. Those who thus see Krishna are not anxious because they know where they're going at death. One who has taken the gift of Krishna consciousness knows that he will not have to return to this material world to take another body, but that he will go to Krishna. It is not possible to go to Krishna unless one attains a body like Krishna's, a Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha body, a body full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. One cannot enter into fire and not perish unless he himself becomes fire. And similarly, one cannot enter into the spiritual realm in a body that is not spiritual. In a spiritual body, one can dance with Krishna in the rasa dance, like the gopis and the cowherd boys. This is not an ordinary dance, but the dance of eternity. in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only those who have become purified in their love for Krishna can participate in it. One, therefore, should not take this process of Krishna consciousness as something cheap, but as a matchless gift bestowed upon suffering humanity by the Lord Himself. Simply by engaging in this process, all the anxieties and fears of one's life, which in actuality revolve around the fear of death, are allayed. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.